Welcome back to Shinlong's Fitness Journal. And in today's journal, I'm going to take a look at having a low-carb holiday. I'll present some keto-inspired dinners. In today's journal, we'll go over our holiday macronutrients, ideal macro amounts, my dinner naughty list, and my holiday dinner nice list. So we got some good stuff coming up today. All right, so let's get it going. Okay, we're gonna start with macronutrients. Macronutrients, or macros for short, are the three big nutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats that our body needs in large amounts, or basically daily. You know, they give us energy, they help build and maintain our bodies. And we'll be getting into that. All right, so during the holiday season, basically carbohydrates are going to be your mashed potatoes, they're going to be your candy yams, they're going to be your stuffing, and of course everybody's favorite dinner rolls. You also can group in there mac and cheese and other pasta dishes. These are all examples of carbohydrates. All right, and the next category for macronutrients are going to be your proteins. For the holiday season, what do we do for proteins? We typically do turkey, glazed ham. Some people do duck or salmon for the holiday season, or beef tenderloin. You know, it all depends on your taste, but those are all examples of proteins. Okay, the last macronutrients or macro that we're going to talk about is a bit of the most complicated one, and that's fats or dietary fats. They come in three main forms: unsaturated, saturated, and trans fats. And we'll get into all three here briefly. Give you a chance to look at the diagram there. It's pretty cool. All right. And so basically, I'll start with the unsaturated fats. Unsaturated fats, also known as monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats. You get them from oils like olive oil, canola, soybean, sunflower oils are examples. You can also get these kind of fats from nuts, almonds, cashews, safflower. I'm sorry, not safflower, hazelnuts. I'm sorry, we're talking about nuts. Cashews, hazelnuts, pecans, and walnuts are examples. So if we go into the seeds that you can get unsaturated fat from, think pumpkin seeds, sesame, and flax seeds, which is not my favorite. I've learned to like it, but if you have a sensitive stomach like me, you want to make sure that if you're putting flax seeds in, yogurt or your food or something, they're ground. Because what happens is with flax seeds, if you're doing them in their regular form, not like in an oil form, flax seeds have a shell around them. For me personally, it was hard for me to digest them, so I never digested them. That was always an issue. So just want to mention that with the flax seeds. With fruits, you can get fats from avocados. Avocados are definitely fruits, native to South America-ish, and they think they were called alocalos. I'm butchering it, alocalos, but we Americanized it and just say avocado. Makes sense to me. You also can get unsaturated fats from fish. Salmon, trout, sardines, good sources for omega-3 types of fat. Now, so when we talk about polyunsaturated fats, that, the poly is all those other, fats. In particular, omega-3 is one of the fats that's in polyunsaturated fats. But in any event, oils, nuts, seeds, fruits, fish are all sources of unsaturated fats. All right, so now we're getting into the saturated fats. These fats are not the best fat, not the healthiest fats. You want those in certain amounts. Sources for these fats are butter, lard, any type of vegetable shortening. Dairy sources could be cheeses, full fat cheeses, creams, whole milk, yogurt, things like that, cottage cheese. Saturated fats from meat will be fatty cuts of beef or pork, but also the skin of poultry, chicken and turkey. There's a lot of fat underneath there. So coconut oils and palm oils surprised me, especially I'm dealing with a lot of fat, in my bloodstream, known as dyslipidemia. So I mean, it's reversible. It's it can lead to high LDL, but or high cholesterol. But in any event, so coconut oil, while healthy in and of itself, when you think of saturated fats, you want to think of fats that at room temperature are solid. Butter, for example, you melt butter, it's a liquid, but you leave it out at room temperature, it solidifies again. So that's a saturated fat. And the same with coconut oil and palm oil. You leave them out, they will turn solid again, at like room temperatures. But those are examples of saturated fats. Now, I went from good to okay. Now I'm going to the bad. And the bad will be the last type of fat macro is trans fats. These are in a lot of processed foods, a lot of, tasty cake if you grew up on those, Edamons cakes, a lot of cookies, Danish sugar cookies, which I love around this time. Danish butter cookies, which I love around this time of year, are saturated and trans fats in them. A lot of pastries, packaged foods like nachos and potato chips and pretzels will have the trans fats in them, for the most part. Other sources could be margarine. Stopped eating margarine years ago, but it's a trans fat. Some fast foods, I won't name names, but you know who you are. Looking at you, Ronald. Anyway, these are all examples of trans fats. Baked goods, processed foods, and potato chips and margarine and things like that. So, yeah, those are definitely something to look out for around this time of year. So, here's what we're going to do now. Basically, I'm going to give you what I call my naughty list. Now, my naughty list will categorize it this way. Main course, side dish, and desserts. And we'll see what will make those lists coming up. You probably already know. So the idea behind this and the idea with this video is two things. The first thing is satiety. Like you don't want to eat you don't want to pig out too much this year, but if you have to, we want to do it a certain way. So let's go over this real quick. Basically, we're going to start with the main course. And the main course got that nice turkey sitting there. Now, this is an example of deep fried turkey. And usually people do glazed ham or deep fried turkey as the main course protein, on the list this time of year. So I put this one on the naughty list because the glazed ham and the protein and the turkey, even though they're good protein, they're high in sodium. So that's why deep fried turkey and glazed ham made the naughty list. In particular, zooming into the deep fried turkey, it has another issue why it's on the naughty list. It's because it's cooked in a seed oil, which can be inflammatory and have carcinogenic properties. Basically, when you take a seed oil and you heat it up, I believe the temperature is 400 and above. 380 to 400 and above, it becomes it becomes inflammatory. It hits your system and inflames things. Gets things to go up. This is definitely something. Inflammation is something to be avoided within your system. And I don't just mean like if your hand swells up, if you bump your elbow or something, if your elbow swells, to protect it. Inflammation in your system, in your vessels and things like that is definitely to be avoided. And I'll get into that a little bit later on. As far as carcinogenic, well, yeah, it can become cancerous. Basically, as I understand it, when you're dealing with a carcinogen, it oxidizes the cells, causing them to mutate, i.e. cancer. It encourages them to do it. So we want to stay away from carcinogenic things with carcinogenic properties, and we want to stay away from things that promote inflammation within our body. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there for you guys. All right, and here we go. On to the next. So that was the main course. Now we are at the side dish. Okay, side dishes. All right, where to begin? Mashed potatoes, rolls, stuffing. Oh, so delicious. Now, cranberry sauce, especially from the can, is sweet. It's super sweet, so that's a sugar. Naughty list. Hyper sweet. Definitely on the naughty list. Also has a lot of carbs. We want to avoid carbohydrates because why? They turn into sugars in the body. That's why this is on the naughty list. The other thing to make the naughty list are potatoes, whether they're mashed, which is a staple of holiday dinner, roasted potatoes, or even scalloped. Bad, naughty list. Candied yams, bad. Even though people make them themselves a lot of times, but they're high in carbs and sugar. If you have relatives that like to top it with that thick marshmallow glaze and then sugar them up. They're low in fat and they're low in protein, so that's definite naughty list because when you eat, you want all three macros, in a particular amount in everything you eat. Stuffing or dressing, depending on where you're from, what you call it. Again, another classic. People make them with sausage and sage and mushrooms sometimes. I hear. I've never known anyone to do it with mushrooms personally, around me. But stuffing has lots of carbs from the bread and the bread mix. A ton of sodium and carbs, as I mentioned. Ton of sodium. We're looking at almost up to 1,000 milligrams because of the stock or the broth that's used. Carbohydrates can go from 20 to 40 grams per serving. So we haven't even gotten to the mac and cheese, and you're already having 40 carbs. So, yeah, that's definitely something to look out for. Okay, so, next up, last but not least, and all this is on the naughty list, desserts. Where do I begin? Well, I'll keep it simple. We have pies. Now, although pumpkin pie gives you a pretty good, source of vitamin, I believe it's A, or is it vitamin K? One of them. Anyway, so pumpkin pie is okay. However, it's on the naughty list because it's sweet, it's fatty, saturated fats, and it's carb dense. But the worst offender, even worse than pumpkin, I love pumpkin pie, is sweet potato pie. Sweet potato pie recipes, they do vary, but they are high in carbs, they're high in calories, and they're high in saturated fat. Apple, pumpkin, pecan pies have similar nutritional value, so all of them are on the naughty list. Even fruitcake. I know what you're thinking. Fruit is in the name, but yeah, but so is cake. So while fruit can be good for you, cake usually isn't. But basically, where'd my slide go? All right, went too far. So basically, fruitcake is calorie dense, which is something, but it also has a lot of carbs and sugar because of the dried fruits. The one redeeming quality about fruitcake is the fiber. You do get a lot of fiber, but the other naughty things outweigh the nice. So moving on. All right. So what I want to do now is something I call macro math. And basically we are going to add it all up. Okay. So all the macros for a traditional holiday dinner, holiday feast. assuming I'm going to combine the values, but I'll leave the chart up. Assuming that you sampled everything and had a decent portion of food, especially your favorites, and you probably went in twice. This isn't even considering seconds. So we're looking at, this is your first run. This is the first course. Here's the math. So here's what you're looking at. Basically, dinner plate, you're looking at, 1,300 calories on your dinner plate. Dessert plate, you're looking at about almost 1,700 calories. Just for the dinner plate up to. So what I'm going to do is we're going to look at the total to tally. I'll leave that up, and you can, take a look at it while I'm, running these numbers off. So basically, when we total everything up, all combined, your total calories on the first run, like I said, this is before seconds, is about 2,985 calories, from dinner and dessert, and some snacks before dinner and in between. Your proteins are about 81. That's not too bad. Your fats, however, going to be 136 grams of fat, and your carbs 365. If you are diabetic, this is going to blow your sugars out of the water. And this is just, like I said, the first course. I would add, if you go back for seconds like I do, I would add probably another, realistically, 400 or 500 on the to the calories. So you're well over 3,000. Well going into the 400s with carbs. Fats, yeah, you're definitely going to double the fat. So you're going to be looking at almost 300 grams of fat. And protein, yeah, you'll probably raise that up a bit too. But, proteins is a pretty good macro. But the calories, the carbs, and the fats, that is, man, that's a lot. And that's just for, like, the first dinner. That's like Turkey Day. It's Thanksgiving right there. Then you may eat some of this, get some cranberry and turkey sandwiches afterwards. You're looking at another calorie dense meal for another week or so, depending on, how the family, how you do it, how many leftovers, you take anything back home with you. So then you turn right around, and barely a month later, we're looking at Christmas dinner. And the same stats here will count for Christmas dinner, more or less. So we're talking, the value is about, the average person, the recommended value is 2,000 calories a day. That's about as much energy as we tend to use as modern people throughout the day. So we've just doubled this. And if you have a sedentary job where you're sitting down, or you're, content creator where you sit down a lot editing videos, and you've just consumed nearly double or two and a half times your typical calorie consumption. Wow. And your macro consumption, I should say. So this is what we're looking at. Not shaming anyone, just trying to get it so that you understand around this time of year with typical American holiday dinner, this is what you're looking at. So yeah, stay tuned. I have some good news coming. Don't worry, don't fret. So coming up next, we have the nice list. So what do we have on the nice list? Well, the idea behind the nice list, of course, we're going to keep the same format: main course, side dish, and dessert. We're going to look at carb-friendly considerations and options for Christmas dinner and holiday, any holiday dinner. We're going to focus on good meats, with minimum sodium. We're going to focus on healthy fats and low carb side options. We're going to bypass traditional starchy dishes like potatoes and sugary glazed things, candied yams, and so forth. So we're going to bypass that. So we're going to start with the main dish. With the low carb Christmas dinner, or keto Christmas as I was trying to call it. Basically we're looking at turkey, ham, beef, seasoned with herbs, not too much salt and things like that. You can add salt to taste at the table. You can also opt for fish. Salmon is good. with herb. You can do a meatloaf for Christmas. Yeah, that can be done. I've done a carb-friendly meatloaf. It had a little bit of carbs in it because of the recipe that I use. It called for steel cut oats in it, and that worked out pretty good. We can do beef tenderloin or prime rib, pork roast. Again, roast turkey and chicken. These are options. Pork is going to be fatty, and I personally don't eat it for many reasons, but I personally don't eat it. So yeah. And I can't eat shellfish, but I can eat regular fish, but I don't know if anyone's had lobster for Christmas, if that's a thing, but I don't eat lobster anyway. But anyway, here you go. This is some ideas. Like I said, roast turkey, chicken, beef tenderloin. You can make different sauces, like a horseradish type cream sauce, make that keto friendly. But yeah, those are the options for your main dish. But main dishes are main dishes. Let's get into the exciting stuff, which would be the side dishes. Okay, so this holiday season, I'm personally going to try this recipe. And I'm not a fan of cauliflower. However, cauliflower mashed potatoes, or even using a daikon radish, which I'm not a fan of daikon radishes, but I'll give them another shot. Either way, I'll do it out of the cauliflower and mix it with butter, cream cheese, and garlic. That's your mashed potato recipe. It sounds good. Green beans sauteed with garlic butter and toasted almonds, made into a cheesy casserole. That's an alternative, low carb alternative, for dinner. Brussels sprouts, roasted with bacon, even on skewers, which sounds interesting. But I would just cut the bacon up and turkey bacon and throw it in there. You can do, instead of doing scalloped potatoes, cheesy cauliflower au gratin. Make it like scalloped potatoes, but just do, cheese, a cheesy sauce. Spinach and broccoli, or, cream spinach and cheesy broccoli. Kind of sounds like a soup to me, like cream or broccoli soup. But either way, it works. Or they're great options. Oh, I'm not forgetting about you on the dinner rolls. So with dinner rolls, oh man. So with the dinner roll option, I forgot about to mention. I mentioned the mashed potatoes. I found this brand. They have these Hawaiian rolls from a company called Hero, and they're good. And they did not raise my blood sugar. They are awesome. Best rolls, best bread I ever had. Yeah, it's right over there. It is. They were delicious. They worked. I had a little bit of butter, so I had some saturated fat, but it was worth it. These things are great. You can find them in your area or go online to the company. Yeah, I definitely recommend them. I'm a fan. I am not being sponsored by them, but I still like the brand, hands down. So these are ideas for a low carb, dinner. Now you can use keto recipes without being keto, and you can tweak those recipes where you're not completely, replacing carbs, but just minimizing carbs. So, like I said, like I did with the meatloaf, I made the meatloaf, but I had to add a bread to it, and I chose oats. And oats tend to be very high in carbs. They're not high in carbs, but they're loaded with carbs. So, yeah, you can do it, and I wouldn't get caught up in the name. I don't, if it says keto, cool, get a keto recipe, but tweak it to your taste. Anything to keep things healthy. So, last but not least, desserts. Now, this I definitely want to try. Keto peanut butter cheesecake. Want to try that. Got to get the recipe for that. Or chocolate coconut cups. Not quite sure how that would turn out, but sounds good. Keto cranberry cheesecake bars. Okay, which is right there up top, and they look delicious. The cookies, I'm not a fan of macadamia nuts, but that's what those are, and those are very keto friendly. I'll add some recipes in the description below. So we did the nice list. We did the naughty list first. We just finished the nice list. Let's add up some. Let's do some math. Let's do some macro math. Let's see. Let's see what this is looking like. I'll get out the way here. So, basically, here are the totals. So we're looking at about just the dinner plate by itself, 800 to 1,000 calories. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. The keto dessert plate, more or less 800 to 815 on the calorie scale. We total everything together. Like I said, I'll let you look at the chart there. But totaling everything together, so you're looking at about 1,600 to 1,800, calories for both dinner, dessert, and snacks. You're looking at proteins around the same, more or less 66 if you do fish, and then 81 to 81 grams of protein. Your fats, you're looking at about 125. It'll max out at 156. Your carbs are pretty decent, 34 through 55 grams of carbs. And again, this even with the full carb dinner plus 3 keto desserts, total carbs stay roughly in the mid double digits, in the mid range, far below the 365 grams of carbs of the traditional dinner plus dessert scenario. While calories and fat remain high, protein is still solid. And again, this assumes that you're going for this is the first course, so you can add about realistically 200 to 300 more for the calories if you were to go back for seconds. Your carbs, I would add about maybe 15 to 20 more, being on a extreme side. So if you really threw down and pigged out, you're looking at no more than 65, 70 carbs for that dinner. So your sugars might go up a little bit if you happen to be diabetic, but other than that, that's the perspective. Is that you're minimizing your macros, your bad macros, and you're still optimizing your good macros, your good fats, your good protein, and you're getting a definite good amount of carbs, but not too much. So yeah, it works out. So now let's get into some takeaways. Basically, what do we got? What do we get from this? What can we do with this? So your macronutrients, like I said, your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, they're essential for energy. They're essential for building and repairing the body, tissue and muscle and things, so forth and so on, and for the body's overall function. They're central to any nutrition plan, especially to build healthy muscles and for your weight management. Very important. Macros are best consumed in a balanced way. I kind of mentioned that earlier. Not too much of this, not too little of that. The best way to do it, and with minimally processed foods rather than whole foods that are minimally processed. Your dietary fats, is where it gets crazy. They come in 3 forms, which we went over: trans fats, saturated fats, and unsaturated fats, which are the healthy fats. Your unsaturated fats are the healthy fats, and unsaturated fats come in polyunsaturated and mono unsaturated fats. Fats derived from seed oils like sunflower, canola, can induce inflammation and have cancer-causing properties. So we definitely want to be aware of that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the inflammation topic. It'll get its own journal. The reason why is because there's data out there, not data. There is findings and research on inflammation's correlation to heart disease, and having a heart attack. So Don't worry, I'll get into that journal. I'll get into it. Also, we took a look at how traditional holiday meals can be modified to maintain and support healthy eating habits. You don't have to be on a keto diet to enjoy the benefits of a low carb, low glycemic menu or diet. So I think that's a good takeaway from here. Basically, just remember, you don't have to be keto, like I said, to enjoy this, and makes sense. So, got the macronutrients as a takeaway. We got into the dietary fats. Talked about the seed oil situation. So, you want to watch out for those seed oils with the inflammation. Oh yeah, we also talked about traditional holiday meals. I think that's all I got for you guys. I'm in the way, but yeah, that is it. I think I covered everything. So just let me know if there are any questions. Definitely leave comments and let me know what's going on with your holiday meal. I would love to hear what you're having, even how much of how much are you gonna have that was on the naughty list, how much you're gonna have that was on the nice list, or anything in between. Again, thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Next video will be out shortly. I'm scheduling some medical medical scans. So if I don't get a video up by next week, it'll be a week off and then I'll come back. But that's not in stone. I'll do a follow-up to update. I'll do a quick update video to let you guys know what's going on with that. Just need an abdomen scan and things like that. So I'll tell you what's going on with that shortly. So in the meantime, guys, remember, I'm messing up. Okay, remember, identify your adversaries, commit to your adherence, and take back your health and vitality. Thanks for watching.